Good evening, YouTube. Hardball Crazy Kid by the video. It's been a minute. I had a little mishap with my phone. I dropped on some pavement and the screen cracked. So I had to get a new phone. So this is my first video, a new phone, replacement phone. Exact same phone I had before. So I got everything up and running and switched over and all my apps and data and all that stuff. And so few days I did work on that, plus watching some baseball, and so I'm back with a video tonight. Do a YouTube video. Today I'm gonna do a since it's playoff season. Talk about some Tiger playoff teams from yesteryear. Of course, yesterday was a sad beginning of a day with the passing of yet another Hall of Famer. 2020 does suck here. Whitey Ford. This is my only Whitey Ford card in my collection, my 66 Topps. Seems like the pose for most Whitey Ford Topps cards from the 60s is the exact same pose. Probably in my collection of the 60 Hall of Famers. My only Whitey Ford Playing Days card. Rest in peace, Chairman of the Board. Of course, for me personally, it was a sad beginning, but a great ending because the New York Yankees are losing the playoffs. Michael Brousseau with a game-winning home run, you all know. And I am not a Yankees fan whatsoever. I do not root for them, so them out of the playoffs made my weekend. Anyways, don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but I will talk about the first era of Tiger playoff teams. I'm showing you some 5 cards, playing days cards from this era. As you from the title, 1907 through 1909 Detroit Tigers. Those 3 years were the Tigers' first World Series teams, 07, 08, 09. But if you probably do not know, they lost all 3 World Series appearances, those 3. So Ty Cobb never won a World Series as a Detroit Tiger. These 3 years, is 07, 09, it's the only appearance the Tigers had while Ty Cobb was a player. They lost 07 and 08 to Chicago Cubs, the 09 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. With a famous showdown between the two best players, arguably the two best players of the era, with Ty Cobb versus Honus Wagner. Pirates beat them. So the Tigers won 3 pennants, and the first World Series titles came many years later, which will be another of my little showcase videos of Tiger playing days cards. So I'm going to show you 5 players who participated in those 3 World Series. Not all of them played in all 3 World Series. Only 2 participated in all, or 3 participated in all 3, and 2 came in the other 2. So I'll start out with the manager, I guess. This is one of my favorite old cards. It's more of a postcard, but I think it's just a beautiful black and white image of a classic image of Hall of Famer Huey Jennings. Just love this. It's 1907 Dice postcards. See, it's got the clean back. He, of course, was a manager of the 07 through 09 Tigers. I love this old Tigers sweater. He did have a couple of batting appearances during the season, and so I count this as a playing days card of him. I just love this classic thing. I think it's just a beautiful black and white photography of Mr. Huey Jennings doing his like yeehaw pose. I'm getting like postcards more to my collection. I think I'm gonna add a few postcards into my collection. It's a nice, cool thing to have. Next up is next Hall of Famer, Wahoo Sam Crawford, the all-time leader in triples. He did participate in all 3 World Series too. T206 Sam Crawford. Sweet Caparel back. I don't have many T206. I only have maybe half a dozen or so. This is my Sam Crawford card in my Hall of Fame collection. And the third participant, it was all 3 Tiger World Series teams, is probably the star pitcher. I don't think I ever showcased this card before. This is probably one of my first pre-war cards in my collection. Is a T205 George Mullin card. He was a one of the 3 years, he was a 20-game winner 2 of the 3 years. In 1909, he won 29 games and was the league leader in wins. His ERA was like 2.2 something or rather. So he was the star pitcher of the Tigers in that era, and he's still amongst the all-time leaders in Tiger records. That's why I kind of grabbed him. I think this was when Scherzer and Verlander with the Tigers. They kept on popping up, them reaching Tiger records, and George Mullin was always in the listings, the top record holders are breaking his record or something. It's like, oh, I better have to get a George Mullin card from our collection. He's probably one of the top pitchers in the era that's not in the Hall of Fame. He's like the notch below the Hall of Fame caliber, but if you take the Hall of Famers out, he's probably one of the top pitchers of the era. Just love this T205 cat with the Tigers logo and artwork, and T205 is one of my favorite. Everybody loves T206s and everything, but T205 is one of my favorite pre-war card sets. I think it's just the artwork, the logo, the bio, the stats in the back. It's like the first set that actually had stats in the back. So that's George Mullin. Next came along in 1908. Also, George Mullin was the first Tiger ever to pitch a no-hitter. Came in towards the end of 1908. The season, but 1909 was his really first full season, and he was the star shortstop of the teams for a long time into the teens. Is Owen Doney Bush. This is 1911 M16 Sporting Life. Sort of a portrait card. Owen Bush was a shortstop. He was a very good shortstop. Always among the league leaders in the fielding percentage, the American League. He's also very good at sacrificing hits, sacrifice bunts, and drawing walks. I believe when I read that at the time of his retirement, only Eddie Collins had more career walks in the American League than Owen Doney Bush. He's in many sets from the this era into in the 19-teens and so 1916, 19 and so forth. Post, he was a scout and a coach. I think briefly a manager in the minor leagues too. In the minor leagues, Ted Williams was one of his pupils, and Ted Williams gave praise to Bush and taught him how to become a professional ball player. He was a very good player in his era. Mr. Owen Doney Bush. My last playing days card. He played only in 1909. Another T206. Showcased this card before. It's George Moriarty, third baseman. He was not really a star. The first four guys, I would say, stars of the era. He was more of just a good player, future manager, future scout, and he's one of the few future players. Became a major league umpire also. This T206 Piedmont back. George Moriarty. He's also the grandfather of actor Michael Moriarty of Law and Order fame. So that right there is my collection of the 1907, 1909 Detroit Tigers. Obviously the big one, Ty Cobb, I don't have, but I'm proud to have these 5 playing days cards from that era of the Detroit Tigers. And I'll maybe pick up a few more here and there. And thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video and have a good night.